We're back. No J King fill in anymore. We don't have him yelling at us about white players. Mo is back. We don't know where Mo was. We just know Mo was somewhere in a land far away.
Yeah, that's how I like it.
Yeah, just being an international spy of sorts. Mo, what was your favorite part of being an international spy?
The cars.
The cars, yeah.
The cars are pretty.
What country are you spying for, or perhaps organization?
These are questions that cannot be answered. We shall keep this
copy.
Well, that's how you know it's not the U.S. because if it was, you have to tell. You have to tell.
You have to,
you need everybody to know that you're CIA.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't believe my cover was.
Well, I've obviously done the NBA stuff over in Europe. Tough.
Oh my God.
Tough.
Oh my God. Let me just tell you that there was one night where my body just said, no, fuck you. You're going to sleep. And it was the only win the Wolves got.
Was it?
You'd
start like 1 a.m. over there?
1 or 1:30, the East Coast or West Coast. And then the other thing was, I'm getting up at 7 to work the rest of the way. So it was tiny amount of sleep. Yeah. And literally like the start, all I remember was the game tipped. I remember I woke up at one point and saw it was like 116 to 76 or something ridiculous. And I don't even know who was up. I just saw those numbers and was like, nope. And then just closed everything up.
Yeah. That's the right move. That is the right move. Yeah. You can't. Yeah. For a blowout, what are you going to do? Oh yeah. This team's good. This team's not tonight. That's all you could do.
That's what I did yesterday.
That's all you needed to do yesterday. That's all it was.
Well, this is over.
Welcome to the Do You Believe edition of Basketball Illuminati. I am Zach Harper. That is Mo Deckhill. That is Proud American. The proudest American, Wosny Lambre. Make sure you're checking out Mo's international Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Mo Deckhill. Make sure you're checking out the Ringer NBA show group chat with Woz, with Rob Mahoney, with Justin Barrier. And make sure you're checking out The Bounce, free newsletter, theathletic.com/The Bounce. Running out of game days to write out stuff. I don't know how to take up for the city of Seattle next week, I guess.
Do you get paid per newsletter?
No, baby, I'm salary. No, if that was the case, we would not cut down to 2 a week during the summer. Let me tell you, that would not be the case.
Actually, it was. It'd be 12 times a week. It would be a morning edition, afternoon edition. It'd
be the New York Times.
Oh my God! Absolutely. You'd be getting updates from me all the time. Be like, hey, I just had this idea. Let's get a newsletter out.
I know Jay King was like, oh, when there's no basketball on, I'm, whatever. Vacation from work is nice.
I don't mind. Yeah,
the happiest person is my wife. She's like, there's no basketball out on the TV.
The NBA season is really fucking long.
I was feeling it, man. I was feeling it yesterday where I was like, well, even today.
October to June is a long ass time.
Yes.
Yeah. Today I was trying to schedule, because we do these, we're doing these videos for The Bounce, and we record them every Sunday and Thursday night. And so today I hit up Zuri Irvin, who's doing the editing, who does an amazing job. You may know him from like NBA Desktop and 6 Trophies and everything. Zuri's amazing. And so I hit up Zuri literally like an hour ago. I was like, hey, no games tomorrow, so we could just record in the morning. And he's like, yeah, how early could you go? And I was like, whatever. Oh, wait a second. Today's Thursday. Wait, I thought today was Wednesday. I was like, oh, well, I can go anytime today. I just have the podcast at 10, and then I got pregame show at, starting at 2:30 for the
Thursday is my craziest day.
And then I was like, I was like, wait a second. No, we need the game tonight. Ignore everything I said because we can't go at any time today until the game's done.
Like Memorial Day fucked you up. That Monday off,
sure did, man.
It changes your understanding of what the week is.
Yeah, man. I'm all. I can't wait for this week off. Go Pacers tonight. All right, let's get into our first topic. No offense to the Knicks, you had your chance. Let's get into our first topic, guys. Do you believe the Thunder are more dominant than the collective bargaining agreement? After rolling the Minnesota Timberwolves by 30 in Game 5, and it was, over about 4 minutes into the game, OKC clinched their first finals berth since 2012. By the way, happened on the anniversary of Klay Thompson Game 6 in 2016 as they came back from a 3-1 deficit. OKC should be here a long time with its talented youth, deep draft capital, and MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looking impossible to defend. Then again, the league has been carving up rosters with that second apron luxury tax penalty to promote parity. That dumbass concept that's there for losers. It's working. 7 seasons, 7 different champions. Will the Thunder suffer the same fate as Denver and Boston moving forward should they win the championship this year?
No, because 2 of their primary guys aren't even on their second contracts yet and won't be till after next year, which Denver didn't have the luxury of doing. Also, it's not just that, they own their draft destiny. They have a bunch of picks. They got the kid they drafted last year to come in. So, eventually people are going to be like, yo, I want to pay Isaiah Joe and Cason Wallace and, Jay Will and Kenrich Williams. And eventually teams are going to be like, yo, we want to pick you guys off. The problem for the rest of the league is they're just going to keep replenishing it with cheap young talent going forward while only having to pay their 3 primary guys. And then, when the time comes for them to make another Caruso-esque deal or for them to, I don't know that they're ever going to do another $100-something million free agent signing the way they did for Hartenstein. Or Hartenstein and be a 90 or something, just under 100. Yeah. I don't know that they have one of those left in them for the rest of the run. But I think in terms of filling out the roster, they're way better positioned than Denver was.
Well, I mean, they're not giving Michael Porter Jr. a massive extension.
It's tough.
That's quite unearned.
Chet Holmgren, Jay Will. Already way better than that guy.
Yeah, that's already kind of set up in that sense. But I just think the other thing is they're set up so perfectly to just constantly reload with different ways, right? And Waz is right. Eventually some of these, role players are going to go off to different places and things like that. No problem. They're just the influx of all the draft capital they have ways, whether it's through the draft, assuming they nail the pick, or whether it's using those in trades to bring in a couple other pieces. I think it's really interesting. They're kind of situated perfectly to fight against the CBA, but I don't know if they're necessarily. I don't know if anybody else has ever been prepared for that in that way. So I just think they're kind of set up nicely for a long run. Obviously, the one thing which nobody ever can account for is injuries. Knock on wood. That's just one thing.
Maybe the league has been, but we don't know what the league has been doing. Tatum gets injured. Curious.
This is some geostorm shit. This is
good. Not a good movie.
The 5G network is giving us bone cancer and shit. Yeah, I think the only things that could stop them realistically are injuries or the things that plague champions. Maybe Jay will wake up one day and be like, you know what? I want to be the man on the team. I don't want to be somebody's second fiddle. Chet Holmgren might be like, yo, I could actually do more. I could be a ball handler. I can be a one-on-one threat. I could be anything outside of that, or somebody sleeps with somebody's girlfriend, or, that kind of thing. Those are the only kind of things that could mess up what's going on.
Yeah, I do think, this stuff never I always say this stuff never lasts as long as we think it's going to, right? That's the one concern is that this will, this people are like, oh, it's 10 years, right? Or, oh, it's going to be, it won't be. It maybe 4.
10 years? What the fuck? What?
I mean, people are just always like, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, making it in 2012. Hey, these guys are going to be around for a decade.
No.
They never went back as a group, right? Harden gets traded months later. KD breaks his foot like in 2014, 2015. He's gone in 2016. Like, Russ is king of the prairie, but it didn't really matter. That whole thing. Like it never is as long as you think it's going to be. Obviously, the whole Heat thing, not 4, not 5, not 6. It was 4 years. Right. KD on the Warriors was 3 years. And especially now, we thought Denver had set up everything to dominate all year. And now we're like, oh, they fired the coach. They got to get rid of some of these guys. In Boston, we're like, okay, shit, look at this. This is it's expensive, but and then Tatum blows out his Achilles. Like,
I mean, even before,
God forbid,
right?
for sure. Like if SGA, had a serious injury next year, they'd still be an awesome team. But
they'd be getting their asses kicked in the Western Conference playoffs. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're still uniquely set up to like make adjustments, make trades, like figure things out. But I don't know that they could survive that. But yeah, you're right. Like once teams start trying to pick off Case and Wallace and Caruso at some point, if he becomes too expensive with luxury tax penalties by the end of that deal, or Hardenstein or whatever. Yeah, man, they got all these picks. They like one of these guards becomes too expensive. Nikola Topic might be awesome, right? Like that kid would look pretty good in Europe. Like he's got some flaws, but that kid looked pretty good in Europe. Like, they got a lot there that they can do.
The one thing,
pretty good.
The one thing too that we never account for in this team's going to be here 10 years or whatever the run we think is, we never account for other teams are going to work to get better as well. Right.
Oh,
teams are going to, we never,
and you got the bullseye on your back.
You never account for that. Like the Spurs are going to try to get better with, what they have. Every team's going to try to build up something. So I think we never account for the other side of it too, where it's like, other teams are going to be there too, get better. Everybody's going to be coming up at this point.
All right. Speaking of the Thunder and their dominance, we might be dominated by a week off, guys. We might have no games depending on what happens tonight with the Thunder, or with the Thunder's next opponent, the Pacers or the Knicks. Pacers up 3-1 in their series. They return to Madison Square Garden tonight, look to knock out the Knicks in 5 games. Game 1 of the NBA Finals is a week from today, Thursday, June 5th. Do you believe that the Knicks or that the NBA will take a week off following Tyrese Halliburton's career-defining performance in Game 4? 32 points, 12 rebounds, 15 assists, 0 turnovers, 4 steals. No one's ever had a game like that in the playoffs or regular season, frankly. Will the Pacers banish Timothy Chalamet, Ben Stiller, Anne Hathaway, that one guy from The Sopranos I can never remember, Tracy Morgan, and toss the match onto a heaping pile of NBA playoff revenue? Or do they bring it back to Pat McAfee's backyard where he can call them fuckers again or whatever he said that upset Ben Stiller, who then had some weird comments about it that I saw a headline on BuzzFeed but did not click to go through because I'm just not clicking a BuzzFeed headline. That was my morning at the coffee shop. I'll be honest. It was, not a whole lot of effort on that one from me. Game 7 would be Monday, I believe, if we got to that. But Mo, do you believe the NBA will take a week off?
I don't know if we'll take a full week off. I think we're done on Saturday. I think the Knicks are going to get the win today. Here's an interesting stat from one of Waz's colleagues, Raheem Palmer. Teams who are up 3-1 in Game 5 on the road, they're just 12-32 in the playoffs. That's a pretty big number. I didn't know. I actually didn't think.
Surprising.
I probably felt differently if I didn't see that stat.
I was going to pick the Pacers tonight in our pregame show, and now I think I'm going to pick the Knicks.
That stat right there made me go, oh. maybe
32 is that's
not a small number, right?
No.
So I feel like, this is going to be one of those things where the Pacers are going to come out. They're going to put a good effort. I think the Knicks are going to give it their all. I think we'll get a Knicks win, but I think the series will be over on Saturday when we get to Game 6.
I don't know. I just like shouts to my guy Raheem. That's my boy. I just from watching the Knicks specifically this series, specifically on defense, I think the offense has been whatever. It is what it is. Like they've made this very rudimentary, like just not very complicated, although very effective at oftentimes offense. It's been fine. The defense, though, I just think hasn't been good enough. And their attention to detail on that end has not been good enough. And yes, sometimes they're just straight up getting beat. Like Pascal Siakam and Halliburton particularly have had some individually brilliant moments, but that's not what their offense is built on. They're just straight up putting the Knicks in a bind on every single possession and dominating the pace of play, dominating the tenor of how these games unfold.
Is that his name, Bobby Bacalieri?
Well, on the show, they never say his actual last name. His name is Bacalao. They name him after some, I guess that's like an Italian
that's his
dish.
Character name?
Yeah, Bobby Bacalao.
What's his real name?
His name is Steve Sherper or Skirper.
I don't feel bad about this at all.
Or something. Skirper?
So he's not
Steve
big,
something.
Big body part, big cat.
Big
or,
pussy.
Yeah, well, all right. I was trying to keep it family friendly, but yeah, that's...
I can't put pussy anywhere.
Oh, boy. There's our breakout clip.
That's a great, one of the classic scenes of The Sopranos. Yeah, no, his name is Bobby Bacalao.
Okay.
Bro, people who haven't watched The Sopranos don't know who this dude is. I encourage you to watch the very first scene he's ever in The Sopranos. James Gandolfini calls him fat in like 50 different kinds of ways. It is fucking classic. Anyway, move on.
My thing about The Sopranos, and it's a great show. I actually do want to rewatch it. I've only seen it the one time all the way through.
It's excellent.
It's so good. And I was late to it. I didn't watch it until it was over.
Me too. Same.
But my one thing about it is like none of those guys are intimidating to me. Like visually. So like they're like looking tough and I just laugh. Like they're just so funny looking to me.
Real life mobsters look even less so.
I'm sure. And I'm sure they're actually terrifying, but like, yeah, it's just, they look so funny to me. So I apologize to Mo because if he read the bounce, then he's already seen some of this, and then I'm going to say it here, and then I'm going to say it on the fucking pregame show too. So he's going to hear this
what are you
I read the bounce to know what Zach's going to say on the pregame show.
Material today.
I read the bounce to have an understanding of what Zach's going to say when we get to it. So go ahead.
Yeah. So on the pregame show today, you're going to hear that I think that the Knicks need to greatly slow down the pace. The big problem in game 4 is they ran with the Pacers. It was the same problem they had in game 1. Game 2 and 3, like, look, they win one of those games, right? They win game 3. Game 2, they could have won. I mean, they could have won game 1 too. Like, obviously they should have won. Game 1. But they started like kind of letting the Pacers do what they do at the end of game 1 and should have won game 2, or could have won game 2, I should say. And in game 2 and game 3, the pace was slow. Like the pace was slow. And that's where the Knicks have to exist. And part of that is you can get efficient offense. And look, you can say like, hey, the offense hasn't been a problem. I agree. But I think the way that they keep that going is the offense can be fast in the half court by running pick and roll. And they have completely abandoned the pick and roll with Cat. Brunson's still doing it. But Cat went from doing like 12.5% of his possessions in the regular season, and he was killing, scoring 1.25 points per possession, 61% effective field goal percentage, getting to the free throw line 17% of the time. He was killing the regular season. It's down to like 5% of his possessions in the postseason and like 0.8 2 points per possession and like a 25% effective field goal. Like, and you can say like, yeah, but he's not scoring. Why would they keep running it? I think he's not scoring as efficiently because they're not running as much. I think it's a reps thing. I think it's a rhythm thing. And he's not like, he's still having a good series. He could be having an even better series. And you could keep that offensive efficiency going without having to run on the Pacers. You create these mini fast breaks within the half court. And I think that's the key to the Knicks. You keep it slow ass pace as much as you can against Indiana. And you do that by keeping your offense slow but efficient with the pick and roll, because they can't guard Cat in the first place. But if you do that with the pick and roll, pick and pop, man, they have no answer. They literally have no answer for that.
No, I'm with you on that. I think the problem for the Knicks, though, too, is that when they do
screen setting, because he's so bad at it.
I mean, he's picking up 3 fouls off of that alone.
You're right. Yeah, that's a fair rebuttal. Yeah,
it's almost just 3 fouls. Like when I read it in the bounce, I'm like, well, that's 2 fouls right there. Before the game started, boom, 2 fouls.
Bro,
you got 2 fouls just from me writing that. Like,
maybe
the suggestion.
Maybe he's always done this, Mo, but he's doing the thing where he's poking his ass out on the screen. It's just the most obvious way to foul somebody on the screen. You are poking your ass out in an unnatural, like, it's so obvious, bro.
Makes no sense, man.
We've actually seen so much of that across the league. Like Draymond's really good at that, the stick the ass out sort of thing on the screens and all that stuff. Draymond just gets away with it. A little bit more.
Really good at it.
Sure, like not good at it, period.
Yeah, but if you don't get away with it, quit doing it.
Yeah,
Draymond gets away with it. Al Horford gets away with it. Like, guys get away with it, so they keep doing it. Cat gets called every time.
Cat doesn't understand.
He's been in the league 10 fucking years.
Yeah,
he doesn't understand even over 10 years, Zach, of like the subtleties of to hold the guy without. The foul he got where
without
he
literally grabbing him and pulling him over,
where he grabbed Miles Turner's arm as Turner was going to the screen, like in plain as day. Like, that's the thing. But to go back to what you're saying though about the offense, besides just the issue with Cat screening, when they run such slow offense though, sometimes it's way too slow. Like, they don't know the balance of it, right? They walk into it. By the time they get into the screen, it's like 11 on the shot clock. They only have a chance for one action. And if they have any ability to actually run, like if it gets stopped, they're screwed. Like, the Pacers are different. The Pacers can run 3 different actions in 124-second violation.
But Mo, I think part of that is they're not running pick and roll or pick and pops with Cat, right? Like that, I think that is, and he has to make quick decisions if he gets the ball. Like, he has to just let it fly. If he's got space, he has to just let it fly. But I think, like, you're right, it can be too slow. But if you execute that first pass correctly, the next move is you're like, the defense is toast.
Yeah, I'm not like, I think they should. I'm with you. I think they should would run it more. Obviously, it's what worked all regular season. I don't understand why teams go away from what their system was, for something that clearly worked and is part of what they do.
Can we agree on something though? No matter what comes of this Pacers series next year, these motherfuckers need to install an offense in which Cat actually gets featured.
I don't think Michael Malone's going to do that.
But why? It's not just.
Someone asked me, like, does Michael Malone have a good offensive system? I was like, I don't know. Can you give the ball to Jokic in New York? Like, I don't know.
You could try. It'll work. It'll work for 2 games out of 82, and they'll all be turnovers. But you can try the stuff. But no, Waz, to your point, forget just running something that features Cat. Run an offense.
Yeah.
Run something where it gets Brunson off the ball sometimes. Run stuff that features Bridges
never
at
off
times.
The fucking ball.
Run stuff that gets OG out. Like, when I worked in San Antonio, and I know everybody hates when I talk about this shit, but like,
I know
expertise. No, people like it. Yeah, I mean, you're
not
bragging,
in 2025 anymore.
You're bragging, but yeah,
I mean, I walked into Pop had a secondary offense, excuse me, and he had on the table like easily like 2,000 note cards, and each note cards were piled in a way where this is Manu Ginobili's package. this is Tim's package, the Tony package. He had a package for his main guys.
Malik Rose.
Oh, of course. Of course. Danny Green package. All that stuff. But he had all of those things set up where all that stuff. So it's like he had a system set up for guys. Tibbs doesn't have that. And that's the thing that's been most frustrating with the Knicks all season. Not just in the playoffs, all season.
Their offense was successful this year. They left a lot of shit on the meat on the bone. They could be so much better.
I also they're like, you can look at it and like, yeah, their offensive numbers in this series are good, but they have to work so hard for every shot. Like they're making shots, but the process of it is bad, man.
Yeah.
They work so hard for every shot.
The stuff that they do for their primary offense should be the shit that they do when their stuff breaks down.
Yes.
Yeah, like every bucket looks like end of clock stuff.
Yes.
Right? And I get it, like they're scoring, like they're good shot makers, but man, they should get some easy buckets.
Maybe Thibodeau won't be the one to install it, but like somebody in that damn front office, like you're paying Karl Towns $60 million a year. Oftentimes he's just standing, doing nothing for anybody.
You gave up 5 picks for Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
And use these guys, man. You didn't use him. Like it's just that's the stuff I'm looking at when I'm watching the Knicks. Like that's what frustrates me with their offense. And just give Jalen Brunson a little bit of a rest where he doesn't have to run every possession. Like he'll be fresher in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. But I heard that actually Tibbs doesn't run his guys down in the postseason, so they're good.
Can't run them down if you play them 48 minutes all season. Can't run them down if they average 48 minutes all season.
Do you believe the quickest route to contender status is trading Paul George away? From an NBA Reddit post by Metroid Suffering, the Indiana Pacers traded Paul George to OKC for Oladipo and Sabonis.
They were not a contender.
And then they traded him for Tyrese Halliburton. Okay. The Thunder, meanwhile, traded Paul George for SGA and 7 picks and pick swaps, one of which turned into Jalen Williams. Should the 76ers trade him immediately? Did the Clippers mess up by letting him walk instead of trading him away? Mo, what do you think?
Sure, but you also have to include the Kings there because them giving up Halliburton was kind of insane.
It's a chain of events, man. It's
a chain of events that leads to it all.
Well, all right.
But you know what? Let me put it this way.
The Kings messed up a trade. Big shock.
Shocker. Right. Yeah. Let me put it this way, though. If you're Philly, you have to talk about it. You have to take a look at it and go like, well, yeah, like we have to look at, especially with the season he had, maybe we do need to make a move. And maybe this will be how we get better.
Who says no?
God.
Oof.
Who says no?
Is Philly a little bit too liberal for MPJ to be there?
Absolutely not. I've been to Philly.
No, they can
we can find some grooves. Yeah, we can find some neighborhoods.
He'll find his pockets.
Yeah.
I saw the clip again the other day. And Maze, maybe you could find it where MPJ is interviewing Lana Rose, and she was like, could you imagine just showing up, meeting a stranger, having to bang them 5 minutes after talking to them like 4 times a week? And MPJ goes, that's tough.
That's amazing.
He was legit like, man,
God.
That's tough.
That's tough. That's tough. TUFF right there. That's tough. I do think the Sixers should trade Paul George immediately. I mean, look, Daryl Morey is an analytics guy, right?
Yeah.
That's some analytics shit right there. Yeah. Right? It's not all about taking threes and getting layups like
Embiid.
What? I mean, somebody would take Embiid at this
point. No, they wouldn't.
Hold on. Charlotte. No. Charlotte wouldn't roll the dice.
The problem
Charlotte.
Is you're coming up snake eyes if you roll the dice on
Embiid. Wouldn't roll the dice.
No, Sacramento would. They're going to do something stupid.
Sacramento.
Ishbia wouldn't roll the dice.
I guess there is Sack and Zach. Or Sack and Matt. I just called Matt Ishbia Zach Ishbia. Sack and Matt. The Matt sack. Okay.
That's two teams.
I do like the idea that Paul George, because wasn't there a thing? There was a thing years ago, like over 10 years ago, where if a team traded Rudy Gay away, Waz's guy Rudy Gay, if the team traded him away, they got better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they got better.
It definitely happened in Toronto.
Happened in Memphis
and Toronto. Yes. Yeah. It didn't happen in Sacramento somehow.
To the Sacramento.
They made the playoffs for the first time. Wait, let me see how quickly that was. I don't think it was right away.
The difference is, but the Rudy Gay bump is right away. Whereas the Paul George one
right away. You're right.
The Paul George one needs time.
Needs a little bit of seasoning. Yeah.
You need to kind of let it happen in that sense. Because what was it like 5 years for Indy? Or?
Rudy Gay signed with the Spurs in 2017 away from the Kings. They made the playoffs in 2023. Yeah, it doesn't quite count. That's too much
Sacramento
seasoning.
Somehow broke that streak. Shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he was signed away. They didn't trade him.
So
Vivek, that's right. Yeah,
who is a maniac? Up there for worst owner in the league. Probably the league's worst owner.
I mean, Ishbia is having a run already. He's up there. Yeah, that's a good question.
How long is he on the team? Ishbia 2 years and he's already tanked it?
2.5 years, maybe.
Idiot.
3 years?
What a
3 years?
Dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vivek, who was calling Mike Brown's phone every day. That's calling the coach's phone.
That's wild.
What are you calling your coach for?
Like, even Tillman Fertitta.
What do you know about NBA hooping, bro?
Calm down. Even Tillman Fertitta calmed down and went away. Right?
Yeah,
he just was like, all right, I'll start signing checks. Well, he got some money in from the government, so he was like, all right, I'm good. I don't need to stress anymore.
Hey, man, PPP, man, was a blessing to a lot of people.
Do the Adelsons count for trading Luka away?
I mean,
they're new. They're very new. They're very new.
But they did a deal with Adam Silver to get Cooper Flag. So was it that crazy?
Allegedly. Yeah. We can't just absolve James
The Adelsons, oh man, is that an all-time horrible start to an ownership group?
Well, it's an all-time
horrible.
horrible.
Technically went to the finals. The start was a finals run.
Right.
But then to do what you did.
But that was kind of set up a little bit, right? Like that was sort of the pieces were sort of there before, like Kyrie trade happened before the Adelsons got there.
Yeah. Like no, that wasn't they got it done.
That's true. It wasn't their moves.
It wasn't their moves.
This is their real first major move, right?
Yeah.
So when we look at it that way, and it's I mean, good luck with that ownership group.
It's still probably Vivek. Yeah, it's still probably him.
He's the worst owner in the league, bro. Worst. Didn't want to let Monty McNair do his job. Just he's a meddler. There's just no two ways about it.
Wes Wilcox went to be a GM in college,
right?
Instead of being assistant GM for the Kings. He was like, I'll go to Utah. I think he went to Utah.
Yeah,
Jeremy
Utah.
Lamb, shadow
University of Utah.
Whoever his daughter's dating is the shadow GM.
Part.
Wasn't there a time where we thought Waz had a chance to be?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what
y'all are talking about.
Was there?
Wasn't there like
For the record, there was never a time that was on the table. But shouts to Nani, I think her name is. Seems like a great person. Really into the animal activist stuff. Was the G League affiliate GM for a little bit. Heavily involved.
That's gonna do it for Do You Believe edition of Basketball Illuminati. Check out all Waz's stuff on the Ringer. Check out post Twitch stream. Check out the Bounce. Make sure you check out the main show here on Basketball Illuminati. For Waz, for Mo, for Maze, I'm Zach. Keep your third eye open. Nope.
What was that?